this man never expected. He originally thought the water attribute magic casually given by the gods was a useless skill, but it turned out to be unexpectedly overpowered. As long as he controlled the thickness and pressure of the water, he could easily slice through rock, and by rearranging the water molecules, he could instantly create 6 or 7 ice spikes. He could even one-shot a magic boar with ease. Even more outrageous was that, as long as he stacked layers of ice infinitely, he could create a massive ice wall. No matter how powerful the monster was, it could be crushed to death by it. Back when Jack had just reincarnated, the angel said it could grant Jack one wish, but Jack only wished to enjoy a peaceful life without being disturbed. So the gods directly threw him into an untouched forest, but they kindly gave him 2 months worth of food supplies, and an encyclopedia of the other world. To prevent him from dying right away, they even set up a protective barrier around his shelter to keep monsters away. In this monster-infested forest, the only thing he could rely on was the water magic casually given by the angel, but he still hadn't figured out the rules of magic. At this point, he was basically just a humanoid water faucet. Seeing that there was even a bathtub, Jack thought it would be great if he could take a hot bath, so he tried to start a fire by rubbing wood to boil water, but after rubbing for ages, he didn't even see a spark. Then he looked up at the sun and had an idea, but first, he needed to make ice. He compressed the water. While extracting the heat, he imagined the hydrogen bonds of the water molecules rearranging in his mind. The next second, ice began to form. Then he shaped the ice into a magnifying lens to focus sunlight and start a fire. This way, he could finally take a hot bath, but the food would only last 2 months. If he wanted to survive long-term, he'd have to go hunting, but he needed to learn offensive magic first. But when he shot out a water bullet, it barely had any effect. Even switching to a thinner, high-speed water jet had no power. Then he remembered the angel's reminder. The key to magic is imagination, so he actually generated an ice spike in midair. But the ice spike formed slowly and didn't fly far. Fortunately, all of this could be improved through repeated practice. After another 6 or 7 months of harsh training, Jack believed he could finally hunt on his own. So he made a spear out of ice and set off. Along the way, he gained quite a lot. He found flint that could start fires, and herbs that could cure poison. All of them were life-saving items at critical moments. But before he could celebrate for long, a magic boar spotted him. The monster guide said it was a low-rank monster, but seeing it in person was terrifying. Before Jack could react, the boar charged straight at him. Luckily, Jack narrowly dodged it. Then Jack spread a layer of ice across the ground. The boar slipped and fell. Jack instantly generated a cluster of ice spikes, and used the boar's sliding momentum to kill it. This made Jack addicted to hunting. The next day, Jack went into the mountains again, but he suddenly ran into an extremely troublesome assassin hawk. He could only fight while retreating. He used ice walls to interfere with the assassin hawk, but the creature was far too fast. Unable to escape, Jack had no choice but to counterattack. Seeing that Jack's tricks were nothing impressive, the assassin hawk decided to dive at high speed to kill him outright. But unexpectedly, Jack formed an ice shield at the very last moment. The assassin hawk couldn't stop and crashed hard into the ground. Jack didn't dare let his guard down and stepped forward to finish it off, but the assassin hawk recovered and flew back into the sky. However, its earlier mistake costed one of its eyes, so it had no choice but to retreat. Seeing this, Jack finally let out a small sigh of relief, but he realized that while he was busy running for his life, he had gotten lost. But because of that, he stumbled upon an unexpected opportunity. He accidentally arrived at a glowing lake. At the center of the lake stood a majestic headless knight. The knight simply stood there quietly, showing no hostility. However, Jack wasn't ready to trigger a secret realm NPC encounter. He decided to first capture 6 or 7 edible animals, and preserve them with salt. He spent the rest of his time studying water magic. Now, as long as he used hard, fine ice sand as an abrasive, and sprayed it out with a high-pressure water jet, he could slice through rock as easily